What are the chances of three different crimes committed within 2.5 years and less than 400 miles of each other and carried out in almost exactly the same way might be connected? Hey everyone, it's Lucky with Unfiltered Lucky. And today I want to talk a little bit about three different cases. I want to talk about the Sandra Ladd case, which happened in Washougal, Washington. I want to talk about the Travis and Jamelyn Juetten case, which happened in Marion County, Oregon. And of course, I want to talk about the Idaho 4 that happened in Moscow, Idaho. Now, as we go along in this video, I think that a lot of us will agree that the details of all three of these crimes are eerily similar. Now, if you follow my channel and you watch my videos, then you know that I'm doing a deep dive into the Travis and Jamelyn Juetten case right now. So, a lot of you have commented on these videos about the similarities between the Travis and Jamelyn Juetten case and the Idaho 4. So today, I want to talk about the details of the Sandra Ladd case, which happened in 2020, the Travis and Jamelyn Juetten case, which happened in 2021, and the Idaho 4 case, which happened in 2022. There's a lot of similar details in these cases, and the fact that so many people are bringing it up in the comments and comparing these cases, I felt like I should make another video about this. Now, I've touched on this in previous videos, but today I'm going to compare all of the details of the three crimes and let you decide. What do you think? Do you think that these crimes are eerily similar? Let's start out by talking about the basic details. All three crimes happened within 2.5 years of each other, and they were all within a 400-mile radius. Now, two of these crimes, the Sandra Ladd crime and the Travis and Jamelyn Juetten crime, happened less than 60 miles from each other, so they were very, very close. Now, in all three of these cases, the victims were brutally attacked by an intruder with a large knife, and they all suffered multiple stab wounds. All three crimes happened in the early morning hours on the 13th of the month, and all of these victims were attacked while they were in their bedrooms. The first crime occurred on June 13th of 2020. One victim, elderly, attacked by an individual with a large knife as she was in her bedroom. The second crime occurred on August the 13th. Two young adult victims who were also attacked by an intruder with a large knife while they were in their bedroom. And the third crime happened on November 13th, 2022. Four young adult victims, all attacked by an unknown individual with a large knife while they were in their bedrooms. So, I'm not saying that these crimes are absolutely connected, but I feel like it's kind of undeniable that they're very much alike. I mean, what are the odds of that happening? Three crimes, all carried out in the same manner, with the same type of weapon, within 2.5 years of each other, and less than 400 miles from each other. I'm very aware that people get attacked inside their homes. It happens. But to have three different cases this close together that are carried out in exactly the same manner with exactly the same weapon, in my opinion, that's odd. Let's start out with the Sandra Ladd case. Sandra Ladd was 71 years old. She lived in Washougal, Washington, and her friends and family have said that she was a beloved member of this community. She didn't have any known enemies. Sandra was attacked by an individual with a large knife in her bedroom in the early morning hours, as investigators believe. Now, her cause of death was stab wounds to her torso. Now, this case happened almost 4 years ago, and there have been no arrests, no persons of interest, and no suspect, and has basically gone cold. Of course, investigators are not releasing any information because they don't want to jeopardize the investigation, as always. They always say we don't want to jeopardize the investigation, but really, the chances that they're even going to solve this crime are 1 in 2. Only 50% of all violent crimes are ever solved. So as they're keeping all this information under wraps because they don't want to jeopardize this investigation, there's probably a lot of information out there that's not being brought forward because these people don't even know that investigators are looking for that information. In my opinion, the reason that a lot of these investigations are ongoing for years and years is because investigators don't want to release any information. The Sandra Ladd case is 4 years old, and they still don't want to release any information for fear that they might compromise this investigation. So in my opinion, I can understand why these families are frustrated with law enforcement not releasing any of the details. You know, law enforcement wants to do this all on their own, but their track record is really not that great. You figure if there's 10 violent crimes, only 5 of those crimes are going to get solved. That's not a very good number, in my opinion. So let's talk about the second crime. This is the Travis and Jamelyn Juetten case. Now, on August the 13th of 2021, 14 months after the Sandra Ladd case, at approximately 3 a.m. in the early morning hours, Travis and Jamelyn were brutally attacked by an unknown intruder who attacked them with a large knife. Now, Travis lost his life due to stab wounds to the torso, just as Sandra Ladd did. And Jamelyn also suffered extensive injuries, but she pulled through, thank goodness. So these crimes happened on the 13th. They happened at around 3 o'clock in the morning, and they were both attacked by an individual with a large knife while they were in their bed. So the comparisons between the Juetten crimes and the Ladd crimes are pretty similar. Now again, law enforcement has no arrests, no persons of interest, and no suspects. And they're also not releasing any information for fear of jeopardizing the investigation after 3 years. Sound familiar? The Sandra Ladd case and the Juetten case happened exactly 14 months apart, and they both happened on the 13th of the month. They both occurred in the early morning hours, and the crimes were carried out in exactly the same manner with exactly the same type of weapon. So I'm going to be doing a deep dive into the Sandra Ladd case as well. Now, I've already been digging into the Juetten crimes, and if you get a chance to go watch my Juetten crimes videos, please do. It's getting very, very interesting, and there's new information coming out all the time. Now, something else that I want to mention about the Juetten crimes is that there was an individual inside the house at the time that the crimes occurred who was unharmed. And this individual is the person who called 911. So, 2 victims who were attacked with a large knife and 1 individual inside the house who was unharmed. Now, 15 months, exactly 15 months after the Juetten crimes occurred, the Idaho 4 crimes happened. These crimes occurred in Moscow, Idaho on November the 13th of 2022. 4 young adults, college students at the University of Idaho, lost their lives when an individual attacked them with a large knife as they were in their beds. Sound familiar? The Idaho 4 crimes were carried out in the early morning hours. And just like the Juetten crimes, there were 2 individuals inside the house at the time that these crimes occurred, and they were both unharmed. Now, the difference with these two individuals compared to the one individual that was inside the Juetten house is that these two individuals inside the King Road house in the Idaho 4 crimes did not call 911 for almost 8 hours. Now, in the Idaho 4 crimes, law enforcement does have a suspect, Bryan Kohberger. Investigators believe that Bryan Kohberger was involved in these crimes because his car was allegedly spotted in the neighborhood at the time that these crimes occurred, as well as a knife sheath that investigators found partially under one of the victims that allegedly had Bryan Kohberger's touch DNA on it. Now, Bryan Kohberger had just moved to Pullman, Washington from Pennsylvania. So there's not a good chance that he would have been in Marion County, Oregon, or Washougal, Washington during the time of those crimes. So I can't say that all three of these crimes are connected, but I think it's pretty undeniable that they're eerily similar. Now, let's go over the numbers. So we have one victim in the first crime, 2 victims in the second crime, and 4 victims in the third crime. In the second crime, there was one individual inside the house at the time of the crimes that was unharmed. In the third crime, there were 2 individuals who were inside the house at the time of the crime. All 3 crimes happened at approximately 3 to 4 a.m., and they all 3 happened on the 13th of the month. The Juetten crimes happened exactly 14 months from the Ladd crimes. The Idaho 4 crimes happened exactly 15 months from the Juetten crimes. In all 3 crimes, the victims were stabbed multiple times, and nothing was stolen or missing from any of these 3 crime scenes. Now, Washougal, Washington, where the Sandra Ladd crimes occurred, was less than 60 miles away from Marion County, Oregon, where the Travis and Jamelin Juetten crimes occurred. And the Idaho 4 crimes were less than 400 miles away from both the Juetten crimes and the Sandra Ladd crimes. So they all happened within a relatively close area within a 2.5-year time period. Now, out of all 3 of these cases, only one case, the Idaho 4, has a suspect. But none of these 3 crimes have been solved as of today. So all 3 of these crimes occurred at the same time, on the same day of the month, were carried out in the same manner, with exactly the same type of weapon. So like I said, I can't say that all 3 of these crimes are connected, but I do believe that the similarities are undeniable. We're going to continue to look into all 3 of these crimes. As I said, I'm already talking about the Travis and Jamelin Juetten case. And if you get a chance, go back and watch my videos about that. It's very, very interesting. And like I said, there's new information coming out all the time. Thanks for hanging out with me today. I really do appreciate it. And if you liked my video, please hit the like button and consider subscribing to my channel. Like I said, I really do appreciate it, and we'll see you next time.